What's going on, traders? Just wanted to review my last 10 trades that I've taken. Just wanted to look at them and see what I did wrong, see what I did right, show them to you guys. I had 6 winners, 2 losses, and 2 break-evens. And yeah, so we're just basically going to review the last 10 trades. They're not in order. I'll let you know which ones are my most recent one. This is the oldest one, I think, actually. This is Aussie. And by the way, if you haven't checked out my latest podcast, check that out. It's a new thing I'm going to be adding to the channel, and I'm pretty excited about it. So check that out. Let me know what you think. But we'll start with Aussie US Dollar here. This was just a daily demand pullback trade. Very nice move away. I believe there was a zone here that this removed. I had a nice, I forget if I made like 1.5 to 1 or something like this. I don't know. I definitely took profits too early. I also had like a little 1 hour in here as well. If you go back and watch, I think I did a full review on this trade before. But yeah, it was a nice trade. It was a little risky because I'm pretty sure this was like some weekly supply or monthly supply up here. But this is a really strong zone. So that was a little risky. Maybe next time I will look for a confirmation in here. But nonetheless, it was a decent trade. Made a good profit on it. This is oil. This was a 4-hour zone right up here. I noticed this daily supply was broken here. This wasn't the best supply, but it was like some selling. Noticed it was broken, and one thing I really liked about this was this 4-hour zone here that was clearly holding up price. You know, one and again down, up here, made a 50% candle and like as it broke it, which means like there's definitely some buyers stepping in here. So I noticed it was a strong zone. And so I bought the pullback to the zone that broke it, which was this nice zone right here. And I made a nice profit on it. Yeah, that was a good one. This is a pound JPY. I don't really remember this one. This was a daily trade right here. I don't think I got filled halfway through the zone. So I think I only really made like a 1-to-1 or something like this. Or something like that on this one. Definitely not a great risk reward, but still a winning trade. All right, this is oil, and you're looking down on the right here. This is one of my break-even ones. If you notice, this is a zone that I took in that last oil trade I showed you right there. And look at this zone, how many times I held up price. 1, 2, 3, basically 4 times. And then look at the zone that broke it, the 50% candle, but pushed down. Look at that short right there, beautiful. And I got filled right here in this 4-hour zone. This was kind of a trap setup. I noticed this demand or support, I guess you'd call it, was holding up price. I thought retail traders would have their stop losses down there, and I guess that maybe they did, but this zone clearly overpowered this zone. So I broke even on that one, and I noticed that, and I think that's why I bumped my stop loss to break even, because this zone was holding. So, and this was some notes that I had here. The daily trend line fooled me into thinking that it was an uptrend, but it did not remove an opposing zone. It was just that the trend line was in play. So as you can see here, I had a trend line going up like that because it broke the high right here above that. That's why I drew the trend line. And it was a trend line. It's a little horizontal, which is not really the best. But also didn't really remove a zone. So it wasn't really an uptrend. It was more just a trend line. So that was kind of a little mistake I made right there. This is silver. Oh, what happened there? Okay, this is silver. So price was, I believe, up here when I took this trade. But I noticed two decent zones broken. Or at least, no, sorry, it was just one. And I believe, yeah, so it was just one zone. Pretty nice pullback to the zone. Very nice move away. What did I write here? One zone break, one zone below that held up price. Still kind of risky to do that, but it was a trade that was with the trend. Yeah, so it was with the trend and only removed one zone. This zone held. But it pushed into the zone pretty deeply, so I thought, maybe it won't hold that great, and it didn't. So that was a great trade. USD Cad, this was another break-even trade. There was a 4-hour trend line coming down like this. Found this nice zone that removed this opposing supply and was directly responsible for removing the trend line. And as you can see, there was a decent move away. Oh, sorry, this wasn't that trade. I took that trade too. This is the trade I took. This supply. This was a loser. So this was a supply zone coming out of this daily supply right here on the left. And I noticed this zone wasn't really a great move away, not that noticeable, but it was a 50% candle zone, and it broke this zone, which worked really well before. So I took the short, got stopped out, and price actually went right down after that. Would have made all my profits, but I noticed I should have put my stop loss above this wick, probably. That's something there. Yeah. CAD yen, this is one of my older ones. Nice daily supply right here. I don't think I got filled halfway through. I don't really remember, but this is only like a 1.5 to 1 or something. I don't really remember, to be honest, but it was a winner. It was a nice trade. Pretty sure that was responsible for breaking like a weekly trend line or something like that. I kind of forget, but I remember it was a pretty significant zone. USD Cad. This is the one I was talking about earlier. This was this zone that broke this trend line. And this zone, it was a very nice zone. It was risky because of this there's a downtrend on a daily. And if you notice, I have a red thing right here. I did not notice this daily supply because of the massive wick. If I noticed it, I would not have taken the trade, which is absolutely true. I didn't really realize that this still was a supply zone because of this move away in this 50% candle, regardless of this emotional wick. And as you can see, you drew it like this, it held. This is just something I've been noticing, guys. So if I knew that, I broke even on this trade, but if I knew that supply zone was there and I realized that, I most likely wouldn't have taken that. I'm not saying I wouldn't have never taken it because it was a nice trend line break and an opposing zone break. But yeah, 4-hour downward trend line break and opposing zone. I took off half risk as price moved up because I did not like how price went so deep into the zone. Yeah, I remember that specifically. Price was really penetrating into the zone multiple times. I said it looks pretty weak, and so I moved my stop loss to break even, and it was a break even trade. Aussie US Dollar. This was today. This one was a bummer. There were stair steppers leading up to the zone. The reason I drew this zone taller rather than shorter, yeah. So the reason I drew this zone taller, like that, instead of something like this, was because momentum was to the upside. So I really wanted to catch it just in case price went, you know what I mean? If that makes any sense. It's just something I kind of picked up on. Yeah, so this 1-hour zone broke this 1-hour zone and also this significant supply zone on the daily. And as you can see, worked out very nice. I just got stopped out. Weird zone. I probably honestly should have maybe drawn it like that. Still probably would have got stopped out. But I'm happy with this trade. I don't mind it at all. Even though I lost. My analysis was correct. USD Cad, this was definitely my best trade. The monthly demand was holding. It was tested, but it was in control and holding. Weekly momentum shift, trendline break. Not the best momentum shift, but I noticed that the new weekly demand zone was holding. Or the new weekly demand zone that was responsible for the men, so it was holding. Right here, I noticed it was strong. This daily demand right here was holding up price very nicely. And price was moving up. It was holding. I wrote here risky because it was reacting off the daily downward trend line. And I was going on long on the 4-hour. Yeah, it was essentially like a daily trend line. This was essentially a 4-hour and a daily trend line break zone. But as you can see, guys, very, very powerful. Very powerful move away. This is a great trade. These little hidden 50% zones are responsible for a trend line break and an opposing zone. They're extremely powerful. I can't stress that enough. So this was a great trade. But yeah, it was a little risky, but gotta take risks to make the money. You know what I mean? But yeah, this was my last 10 trades. It's been a great last 10 trades. I'm very happy with my performance. Yeah, that basically sums everything up. If you have any questions, hit me up down below. Cheers.